Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
This is Cliff Chang, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hello, kids. Are you afraid of things that go bump in the night? Insert random little Hellfire joke here. Welcome back to the Capes and Lunatics. Who's she who's not home? Our 2022 Halloween episode. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, New Jersey's favorite ghoul it is.
Charlie, the Professor Essa.
And she who, doesn't rise. She who rises from her coffin and slays the not so innocent. It is.
Hey y'all, it's Little Hellfire.
Yay.
Okay. Happy Halloween, kids.
Happy Halloween, yes, because this will hit the podcast on October 31st. So.
Ooh, wonderful.
All right.
I have my Next Large Object t-shirt on.
Hey-oh!
Because I was looking for this, and I found it, and I'm so happy.
Oh, I want one of those with an arrow. Come on.
Because I am the Next Large Object.
Okay.
Yeah, totally, man.
All right, so yes, each of us picked 3 comics for the Halloween season. To share with you, Charlie Esser. Why don't you throw out your first choice?
So I'm going to start off with something a little light, a little fun, little not to scare the kiddies, but still fun for the kiddies because Halloween. You think it's for slutty adults? Yeah, really. It is for hungry children. And so the first one I picked was Fantastic Four Presents Franklin Richards, Son of a Genius, Monster Mash.
He called it. He told me he's going to pick it.
Yeah, this was the first one. I knew because I knew they did a monster. There's a few other issues. The other one that I was actually going to go was one that dealt with a lot of variants and alternates of Franklin Richards through multiple universes, which is also cool. But I went with this one. And just a bunch of nice little short vignettes. Just for fun, we have Franklin and Herbie on a little adventure to find the abominable snowman, a Yeti. Now, notably, this is a brown Yeti, not your traditional white Yeti that you usually see in northern climes. So we don't know if this is a Sasquatch that is visiting his cousin in the Himalayas, or that, that's just a very hateful stereotype that all Yetis are white. I don't know. But that's that, and Yeti, and of course, in traditional fashion, Yeti is a very sweet and loving monster. He isn't really looking to cause any problems. And when they are all about to go home, and Yeti feels lonely, they decide to stay and play with Yeti. So that was nice. Next one, we have Franklin Richards accidentally exposing himself to beta rays, which turns him into a purple monster every time he belches. You will definitely see there's that definite Calvin and Hobbesian vibe with this, except that in this one, you have Herbie in the Hobbes role, being the voice of reason. And what's weird is that everything that happens in it, you can assume is just real. So that's a little weird and disturbing. Meanwhile, Franklin turns himself into a ghost in the next story. Meets a bunch of other ghosts because, his father's telling him that there is no such thing as ghosts. And he said, well, no, technically we which, honestly, for Reed Richards to say there's no such thing as ghosts, when he, knows people who are ghosts, I think that's just come on, you've met Ghost Rider. He was on the Fantastic Four, Reed. So he goes and he meets a bunch of other ghosts who then want to be brought back over so they can be corporal again. But actually, Herbie just uses the magic device to send them back to the other side of the dimension. Meanwhile, after an adventure, Franklin's got a monster under his bed, as you do. which he then has to have sent back to its original dimension, which, Reed is nice enough to do. And later, Franklin accidentally turns himself into a being with all the powers of the Fantastic Four. But he can't really handle them very well. And eventually he decides that is not the best way to spend his Halloween. And that was the first one of the... I did. There's a lot of these books out there. Actually, I really have to recommend the Franklin Richards Son of a Genius series line. There's a couple that Valeria shows up in. They are really fun. Great for the kids. Great for the adults who still are kids at heart. And a perfect Halloween book.
Oh, nice. All right, Lilith Hellfire. Who's on mute? I don't know if she knows that.
Lilith, did you go to the bathroom?
No, yelling at the dog. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this year I didn't pick specific issues. I picked like comic books because I watch horror movies and read horror and scary stuff all year long. So this is stuff that I've just been like reading lately, or like some of my favorites that I just picked out. So we'll start with the classic Tales from the Crypt. So that ran from like 1950 to 1955. I think it only has like 27 issues or something like that. And it also has like a couple before it. But yeah. So if you remember, if you're a 90s kid, if you're peak millennial like I am, obviously you remember HBO's Tales from the Crypt.
Yep.
And yeah, they were kind of based on Max. Yeah, I know. It seems like it's always been Max at this point. Oh, let them rewrite history. But yeah, so I remember my dad telling me that it was like actually based on like old comics and stuff, and I was just like, oh. And then I actually found some really old ones. They're not in the best condition, but they're pretty cool. Time capsule of the 50s and what they found scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved the Tales from the Crypt, especially when you realize how many times they'd retell the story. Did you ever see the actual, the 1970s Tales from the Crypt movie?
You know what? Somebody mentioned that to me, and I have yet to track it down. I'm hoping maybe next year Tubi will have it, because Tubi is just killing it with everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've that was on heavy rotation, and when I was a kid during the Saturday morning monster movie marathons, and it's cool because you actually see oh wow, I remember when they did that episode on Tales from the Crypt.
And then Tales from the Crypt also had a cartoon too, a Saturday morning cartoon too.
Oh yeah, that was on Tubi for a while.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, that was a fun one, and that's one of those great. That was a very interesting time in cartoons. I remember that because that was when a bunch of R-rated fare had a huge fan base among...
Beetlejuice had a yes, I know.
Yeah.
RoboCop had a cartoon. Beetlejuice had a cartoon.
Oh, if it was popular...
Highlander had a cartoon.
If it was popular...
Rambo had a cartoon.
If it was popular in the 90s, it doesn't matter how adult the subject matter was. They were going to make a cartoon.
It was getting a cartoon for the merch.
Exactly.
The Ghostbusters. Yeah, everybody got a cartoon.
Yeah. And I think Tales from the Crypt even had a Halloween cereal for a while too because of that cartoon, if I remember right. So yeah, kind of iconic but kind of forgotten right now. So I'm thinking HBO will probably do something with it. Well,
they got it. I mean that's prime IP. They, I'll be honest with you, they just released a Creepshow comic book again.
Yep,
so,
I saw that.
I mean the anthology horror.
And this is what basically all my picks are anthologies because I just like that a lot better.
Well, they're always great. I mean, that's the thing, yeah. And I shied away from that only because obviously, I mean, it's great. I mean, also I don't have DC, and all of the good anthology horror is DC.
It is true.
I mean,
unless you want to dig back, unless you want to dig back to the 70s, then Marvel definitely has it there for sure.
Even then, I think that they like to do the character,
Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night. Yeah, they went with specific characters instead of anthologies.
Horror, but never that Twilight Zonian twist. Although actually there is one on my list that is like that, which we'll get to later. Anyway, Philip, it is your turn.
All right,
Turn us on and turn us out and turn us into sauerkraut.
All right, my first pick.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Long as it has corned beef and cabbage next to it, I'm down.
Whoa!
Oh, double cabbage.
All right, so my first pick is February 1987's Captain America 326.
I take it doesn't feature Captain America's titties.
No, it's not. It's way before Rob Liefeld. All right, S.
Oh, God.
It's the haunting of Skull House because at this point, before he popped back up into Steve Rogers' clone body, yes, Captain America thought the Red Skull was dead. He gets reports of strange lights and activity at the Red Skull's old house, so he goes to investigate. After searching the house, he sees what appears to be the Red Skull's ghost, but again, he's still like, this could be a hologram or something, and the Red Skull's like, no, man, your eternal soul's in danger because, you gunned down that ultimatum agent who is just, like, spraying down on those hostages. Remember that, Charlie Esser?
Yeah, and I don't know why that particular murder would do.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Really? You mean all those Nazis I killed? That was totally cool? I mean, I did kill a lot of you Nazis,
Yeah. So Captain America's like, no, I don't buy it. But then, some of his other dead enemies, supposedly, that ultimatum agent he shot, Scourge of the Underworld, the Porcupine, and MODOK supposedly all show up and try to attack him. But after a bunch of mind games, we see it's who's behind this. Let's see Charlie Esser pop up in his seat. Dr. Faustus.
Oh, good old Dr. Faustus.
And he wants revenge on Captain America because after the last battle, he's stuck in a wheelchair. But as he's going to escape, he's like, I know he's going to get through these traps. He almost gets Captain America to walk into a crematorium oven. He's like, nope, that didn't stop him.
Wait a minute, wasn't that a Breaking Bad episode?
Maybe. He's like, hey, this is
I think this would predate it.
Yeah, this was 1987, Lilith Hellfire, so they stole from Mark Grunwald. Yeah, no. So, yeah. So when that doesn't kill Captain America, Faustus is like, I'm out of here. But all of a sudden, the Red Skull's ghost seems to appear to attack Dr. Faustus. So then by the time Captain America finds him, he's like all catatonic. So he's like, because it looks like the Skull's ghost is choking him. And Steve's like, oh, it was all Dr. Faustus. Except, why does he have those claw marks around his neck? He's like, Dr. Faustus is, an habitual nail biter. They're chewed down to the nub. So who could have, tried to choke the life out of him?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, of course, the real Red Skull that died back, years ago.
Yes, because
the original soul that actually got their get out of hell free card just one. Says Mephisto, can I just strangle and scare the heck out of
Faustus
just the one time? You've got 6 other Red Skulls that have come in the last week. Let me go up there. Let me just really scare this dude.
Before that backup copy of mine shows up in Steve Rogers' clone body, I can I just come back up and choke out that evil psychiatrist? Yeah, sure.
And Mephisto, he's cool. He's the hospitable one. There's always room for one more in his inferno.
Yes. All right, Charlie Esser, you're back up.
Oh, I'm back up. Okay,
Hail.
Well, in keeping in our super soldier theme, I'm going to do Weapon Plus World War Ivy. So, picture, if you will. Here we go. Let's see if we can get the image on there. There is a recreation of the super soldier serum using Ted Salas's notes, and apparently a little bit of Ted Salas too.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. And this is a really good horror story, too, because it starts off with an inescapable mist around a town in Oregon, and people being sent in, which, that's... Why are the 4 soldiers going into the mist? It's like, dudes... Like, in what universe do you think you live? And that ends poorly. But then we actually cut back to this guy, who is... Oh, I'm trying to remember his name here. But anyway, he's being tortured by some Russian general, or by a Russian general, because he's been sent to kill the Russian general who is observing. He says he's just an environmental reporter, yada, yada, yada. That's his cover. But as soon as the actual general shows up, he turns into his own little weapon, Ivy. See, get Ivy. See, because he's made of plants. Anyway, yeah, and then he kills everybody. He covers the general in spores, or something. I don't know what he splooged him with, but he is very splooged. They all die.
I'm gonna need that as a drop.
And so our little weapon man thing goes back to his handler.
What Lil's looking for?
Yes,
weapon
he
man
is. Then this is your classic. Oh, you only have to do this, and then we give you the antidote. We have the antidote to let you be human again. We just have to keep on killing people for us, and we'll get right on that antidote for you. Man, not even Reed Richards was that transparent. But as it turns out, they have tracked down his brother, Philip Strode, because he is also somebody Strode. I think Victor Strode is his name.
Strode, not Chode, Phil. Calm down.
And yes, here's where we get the secret backstory. 1 year ago in Alabama, he was captured by the U.S. government and experimented on because it's the Marvel Universe and they do that sort of thing. Perfectly acceptable. Anyway, got turned into a man thing. He was the only one to survive, which is ironic because I figured, well, we'll just inject him with it as a test subject because all of our other test subjects have died horribly. I'm sure he will die horribly as well. See, that's anytime you say, well, I'm sure he'll just die horribly, that always ends poorly, supervillains. Why don't you realize that? Anyway. But yeah, and he goes back to him and his brother Philip. They were both obsessed with science, but Philip was the guy who was a real scientist, and he just never had the discipline for it. So he became a reporter, investigating science, trying to educate people about the dangers to the environment. But as it turns out, this town has been compromised by a sentient fungus that connects all the plants within the area, including now the fungus has infected humans. So everything is the one mycelia. Basically, in most big rainforests, there is this fungal network underneath the trees that effectively connects them, so that what happens at one tree, other trees are aware of. It's very fascinating, cutting edge botanical science, and the perfect place to make some stories up for comic books. And he does eventually find his brother, who, and of course here's where we get our backstory, who has been turned into. You ever see or read the story or see the movie The Island of the Mushroom People, where you just basically the people get covered in mushrooms and get turned into.
Was that a double feature with Puma Man or?
It could have been. Come on, Island of the Mushroom People.
He said it like that's what mushroom means.
What are we talking about? Lilith Hellfire's dating history?
No.
No. More like drug use, but.
No, I mean, hey, even Fred Sanford once referenced the Island of the Mushroom People. So it was a legit thing. It's actually a really scary story, and the actual story it's based on is literally just this place that in the fog, and all the human life got covered by these mushrooms, and eventually there's no humans left except for these mushroom statues, which is what his brother has become. He kills them, and then he puts his brother out of his misery. Then he kills the general, who was like, I was going to give you that serum next time. But he decapitates him instead. And that's the end of that. And then we get a little backup story, which I really like, which is about brute force. For those of you who don't know what brute force is, it was a comic book created by Marvel to sell toys, where they tried to figure out a way to create toys. Because as you may remember, there was a lot of toys that were having comic books. Marvel said, why don't we create a comic book that would make great toys? And so they created these super intelligent
and then G.I. Joe said, hey, bud, what you doing?
Yeah, but they basically put a bunch of robot stuff on animals. You got your dolphin, your bear, your kangaroo, your lion.
That's more like Transformers then. Okay.
Yeah, and of course the Falcon. So it's pretty cool. But they basically send them in. They fight. They kill. They die, sadly. But you know what? Good thing about using super intelligent robot animals, they make more dolphins. They're all sad the dolphin died, but let's get these guys. This is basically what replaced the Weapon X project, because that, honestly.
Oh, so blame Canada. Gotcha.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
And yeah, but they're actually all pretty cool. I mean, these are like some really BA.
Oh no! Wait, they might want money from Animorphs then.
Yeah. But anyway, so Brute Force. This was like supposed to be the big relaunch here, but and they have had some other references. In fact, in Silly Still and Ziggy Pig, they do get a reference to Brute Force in there as well. But anyway, Lilith, what was your second series?
Let's see. We'll talk about Anthony Bourdain's Hungry Ghosts.
Oh my goodness.
Anthony Bourdain did I discovered his non cookbook stuff and nonfiction stuff. It's a good writer, and he had done a comic book, well, two of them based on Jiro. And so I was familiar with that, and I stumbled across this one because I like Japanese culture, and who doesn't love a good comic book story about a parlor game, an old-fashioned parlor game, Mm-hmm. So it's it's based on a Japanese parlor game where they tell scary stories, and as each scary story gets completed, they blow out one candle, and the room gets darker and creepier, and the stories get darker and creepier. And so he kind of based this story on that whole premise, and except for it's about people getting together and eating, and what's the scariest, they're just telling their scariest stories. So it's a 100-page graphic novel. I'm not really selling it very well, but it's very well put together, and if you're kind of into that Japanese culture kind of thing, it's a very good book.
So it's like if Tempopo so it's basically Tempopo meets what was that thing with the kids telling the ghost stories?
Are you afraid of the dark? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
exactly.
For those who've never seen Tempopo, one of the best films ever made. It's a comedy about Japanese food culture. Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's where he drew some of the inspiration from too, as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Honestly, I love Japanese food culture. It is just... See, that's my anime. It's like, oh, look, rice omelet. Okay. Now I want to watch.
All right. So, my next one, maybe Lilith Hellfire remembers this one. Superman number 180 from May 2002.
A day that will live in infamy.
Where Clark, Lois, and Jimmy are invited to the castle of a certain Eastern European count, who calls him, I guess it's supposed to be Count Romanov, or that's what he calls himself, but
Stroganoff? What now?
A lot of food tonight.
Yeah, well,
Halloween, you gorge yourself on candy and apples and cider and donuts and hay rides.
Exactly. So yes,
don't eat the hay.
Don't tell me what to do. Hay is for horses, and maybe I want to be a horse.
I know, but I'm just saying you remember it the next day. So it's sometimes too much fiber is too much fiber.
All right. So wow, the Count's little woman servant is keeping Jimmy busy. Well, in the middle of the night, Dracula kind of takes control of Lois and steers her away. Scantily clad Lois away.
Who did the art on this one?
Oh, this was the era of. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, it was the Jeff Loeb, Churchill era. Yeah.
I am remembering exactly what this issue is.
Yes. She almost gets attacked by a werewolf, and then Superman, of course, comes and saves her. And then, yes, they barely get out because a bunch of werewolves attack Superman. But then they get out. Lois doesn't remember anything the next morning. It seems like the Count's after Lois, but as we later learn, the Count is not Romanoff, it's Count Dracula, and he's really after Superman, which As
Some of that tasty super blood.
Oh yes, of course, yes. And as a supernatural entity, he does break Superman's skin. But silly Count, every cell in Superman's body is charged with solar energy. What do you think's going to happen when you taste that blood?
He should have ate some garlic noodles just to top it off. He's like, are you faster than a silver bullet? Let's find out.
And then they make the whole point. It's like, oh, Superman doesn't have to feel guilty because Dracula was already dead. I'm like, Superman was like under his control. Superman didn't lift a finger. All Dracula killed himself by feeding on Superman. It's
Yeah, but this issue would cause great angst and uproar in the DC community as DC versus vampires spiraled out of control, because people would bring this up as canonical evidence that this don't make sense. This is a Wookiee living on Endor. And,
yeah, we can all agree on that.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, they've done...
It's a fun, stupid romp.
Yeah, it's a one shot. But again, over the years, every decade they do at least one, I swear, vampire thing with Superman, and the rules always change. But
well, that's because nobody has respect for canon anymore. Because they don't have respect for
at
canon.
DC, everything counts, Lilith.
When everything counts in that way, that means nothing matters.
That
I
means
will tell you,
we don't want to do the homework.
Is that Super Friends did it better, did it first, and did it better. I mean, that's did you see the Super Friends versus the vampires?
Yeah, it's been a long time, but yes, I have.
Yeah, but it was that's where it started. That's where you got Batman as a vampire. They had a Superman vampire, so In fact, I'm sure there were people that tried to trout that out as the evidence. See, you can have a DC vampire story with superheroes and make it make sense. But when you have to go to the Super Friends for your canon,
Meanwhile, Man-Bat's like, I'm right here.
Oh, Man-Bat.
He's not a vampire. He's a
I don't even know if he's a vampire bat.
No,
he might be a fruit bat.
He's fruitful.
There's only so many. I mean, really, vampire bats are not the most common bat. Most
They're
bats,
really not.
they're either bug or fruit eaters.
He's Kurt Connors with wings.
Exactly.
He's a scientist, and honestly, he was brilliant in Justice League Dark recently. So
yes, I can agree with you on that.
There you go. That's your next project to tackle, Mr. Gunn. Please, justice for Man-Bat.
I want to see. I don't know if you guys remember Gods and Monsters. It was like a whole little mini animated universe.
Yeah, we covered that like the first one. At least we did. Yeah.
There's comic books, and then there's like the little webisodes and stuff too, and then there's like the whole movie.
Yeah,
I want to see James Gunn do that. That's the alternative, like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I kind of want to see.
Yeah, because it was an alternate. Yeah, and it was Zod as Superman. Yeah, Batman was like Kirk Langstrom. Yeah,
and Wonder Woman was Barda.
Yeah. So,
and what movie is being referenced when the term Gods and Monsters is referred to?
The movie Gods.
Tell us, Grandpa.
Yes. That is from Bride of Frankenstein, the first sequel to the Frankenstein quadrilogy.
There's only 4?
Well, the 4
original.
Okay. Yeah, the 4 that were direct sequels. I don't know if House of Dracula is considered still a direct sequel in its references, or where the Abbott and Costello films fall within that canonicity. But
I think it takes talent to play Frankenstein.
But the original 4 that were just focused on Frankenstein before we got other monsters into the mix, it was Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, and then the 4th one, which had Bela Lugosi as Frankenstein, from which we get so much Frankenstein. And in fact, a lot of Frankenstein lore comes from Bela Lugosi's work. Doesn't get the credit he deserves, but like the reason he walked with his hands out is because he's actually supposed to be blind, but they cut that out of the film. So
okay. All right, Charlie.
Just telling you the stories, man.
Yes, Charlie Esser, your final pick.
Oh, my final pick. Oh, okay, good. Because here we got. I've been saving my scary one. This is a scary one, my friends. War is Hell. This is the reboot of Warriors Hell. They did an issue of, because back in 2019 they were just doing all these, like, all the histories of their, like, classic comics, and this was their reference to war comics. The first story is really cool. It's a very Twilight Zone-esque thing, although it has almost no supernatural elements. It's actually by my favorite comic book writer and artist, Howard Chaykin.
Ooh.
You know him as soon as you see him. And basically it's about this jazz enthusiast, World War II German flying ace who is, always sneaking out to listen to his jazz records. Because, the Reich he may be fighting for the Reich, but the Reich can't control him. He loves that smooth jazz, Epcats. And you get this basic storyline where, effectively, you get this parallel storyline of these USO folks who are trying to get into Europe to entertain the troops behind enemy lines, and this, jazz-obsessed German soldier, he's very dismissive of Goebbels and the like, but he's got all the confirmed kills. He's doing the killing. He's doing the heavy lifting for the war, so he doesn't want to hear what Goebbels has to say. He's going to love his smooth jazz. In the end, he goes. He's out on his last patrol in 1944. He knows that the war is going to end poorly. He goes to do one last attack, strafes the ship carrying his jazz idol, and then crashes down behind enemy lines to surrender at the jazz festival, only to hear, oh yeah, unfortunately the jazz guy won't be there because he just got shot down by one of your aircraft. There are several points in this where you really get the feeling that this is a real jerk kind of guy, and he has it coming, because I'm not a Nazi, I'm just fighting for Nazi Germany. And it's like, no, that's not a good answer. You can like the jazz and be a hepcat as much as you like, and that doesn't absolve you of the sin. And then we have the second one. This one is really good. This is called War Devil. And this is a very supernatural story, and it's basically about this legend of Jinn. I'm trying to find where they call it. Jinny Dagal. And Jinny Dagal was, because he first encountered this term, the Jinny Dagal, which is the spirit of the wild and the animals, that the hunters came, and when the hunters killed all the animals, the Jinny Dagal infected the hunters and made them hunters of men. And that is the spirit of war. And no matter how many times you kill, you eventually gain this spirit, this evil spirit within you that just makes you kill. And it is beautifully told. It is hauntingly drawn as this soldier eventually realizes the Jinny Dagal is in him now. So yeah, that was beautiful. There's reference to the history of war comics here, with Marvel, who's done amazing war comics over the years. They don't actually reference the original Warriors Hell series, which apparently had death, the personification of death, as a main character, chasing down the protagonist in it.
Oh, existential dread, eh?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go back and read those later.
A little too real.
All right, Lilith.
Okay, so you guys knew it was coming. Afterlife with Archie. I cannot recommend this enough, even though it is technically not complete. 10 of the 12 issues have been published. There's technically 2 volumes. Everything about this is great, from first issue to last issue. I love the fact that this whole zombie apocalypse in this alternate reality Riverdale starts because Reggie, because we all hate Reggie. Reggie's a bad guy. If you're an Archie fan, you know. Kills Jughead's dog. Jughead asks Sabrina to bring his dog back. The dog comes back as a zombie, bites Jughead, and kicks off a whole zombie apocalypse.
Damn.
And the coolest thing is that they do a origin reveal for Josie and the Pussycats. They were vampires the whole time, and they just revamped themselves like every decade or so.
Oh.
So yeah, it's like one of my favorite things. And then the coolest thing about Afterlife with Archie is that it actually starts off the whole Archie horror imprint, which consists of like Jughead, the Hunger, Vampironica, and Chilling Adventures. And then also it's the first Archie comic ever to only be sold in direct market, meaning it's the first one to ever be sold just in comic book stores.
Wow.
And it was the first one to drop the Comic Code Authority's standards back in so yeah, it was like the first one to do that in the line, of course, after they rebooted in 2011. So it's just really, Afterlife is just really cool.
I mean, it sounds good. I mean, if I was going to read any Archie book regularly, I'd probably do that.
I always recommend the horror stuff, like, you know, Predator, Archie versus Predator. Anytime Archie meets like Batman,
The Punisher.
Yeah, anything like that, I think is like all the alternate Archie stories are just so good because Archie is a slice of life, and so it's kind of grounded, and so when he meets Batman, it's more believable. Or when like Veronica and Betty are hanging out with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, like, I don't know, it just works for me. It just works.
Yeah. Especially when it's the 1966 Batman.
Yes, I think that's been my favorite.
Yeah. Well, you know, 66 Batman actually fit in very nicely with, I felt, the Archie aesthetic. And, you know, because they're all basically that parody of that universe. So I am surprised you did not do House of Mystery, given our previous discussion of the wonderful horror anthologies of DC. I know you already did Tales from the Crypt, but it would have been nice. And I was actually I was hoping your third one was going to be Elvira's House of Mystery.
You know, always a good pick. All year round, anything like that is always a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had access to those books, I might have done that. I was actually worried. I didn't really, because see, that was the thing. I wasn't sure we could do a whole series or a whole approach to it, because I was thinking, oh wow, man, there's all these great, even just the short series like that original War is Hell series, and you know, I would have loved to have talked about Elvira's House of Mystery, because that was
Put it on the list for next year, Charlie. Now you know.
I will have to. I'm going to have to, you know.
Little Hellfire sets the rules,
You know,
and then she breaks the
to
rules.
be fair, check your library. They might have like an archive stash somewhere.
Oh, I have a bunch of them in my garage, you know. And I remember them all with perfect clarity, as I always do. Every comic book I've ever read, you know. Not really. But, no, I always loved Elvira's House of Mystery. And, you know, I love all of Elvira's current work. So that's, you know, I'm glad that she's still going strong.
Now I'm glad she chose to share who she wants to be with, and you know, it was none of our business, but she shared it, and I'm happy for her.
You know,
Did I miss that?
It just proves the thing that I'm always attracted to lesbians. So, you know.
I was gonna say.
Honestly, no. This was actually
Proof positive.
no, not for nothing. Like, my three biggest crushes as a kid were Ellen DeGeneres, Paula Poundstone, and Rosie O'Donnell. So
I know two of the three.
like, personally,
No.
No, I guess one of those names she doesn't know. Who, Paula
you don't know
Poundstone?
which one?
Poula Poundstone.
Oh, Paula Poundstone.
Comedian.
Oh. Yeah, she does a lot of NPR stuff. So
Okay.
You already said lesbian. We got it.
she may be more asexual. I don't know. That's an interesting question on that. I mean, obviously, she doesn't go into a lot of detail about it. You know, so.
Anywho, we got time to talk about a couple of comics if you guys want.
Yes.
Or I could give my last pick.
Oh yeah,
No, we don't
did you
care,
have a third
Phil.
book? No, I want to hear what Phil liked. I want to know what Phil likes.
No, Phil doesn't want to hear it.
I'm just teasing. Go ahead, Phil.
Because she forgot, because she's
You
drunk.
didn't make a sound drop, so I didn't know you were still alive.
Oh, you want me to make a sound drop? All right.
I wonder if my wrist is ready for that.
All right. My last pick was Moon Knight number 20 from 2008.
Ooh.
Which was a flashback story. I was going to say Mark, but I guess he was Steven at the point where they had to get into this club. Him and Marlene go undercover in this underground fight club, but the fighters have been transformed into werewolves.
Oh.
Because the people behind the fight club have been getting, I guess, like blood or whatever from Jack Russell, So
Every time. I'm going to laugh every time. I don't care.
So, of course, you know who Moon Knight's going to fight, to, you know, his first enemy by the end of this issue, you know, Werewolf by Night himself.
Be embarrassed if your arch nemesis name is Jack Russell. Just be embarrassed.
How did you fight Jack Russell? What did he do, bite your ankles?
You know,
Wild, like an animal.
What, like Russell?
wild like an animal.
But I don't know if it was like an anniversary issue, but yeah, because I remember this issue. I have it downstairs. It's so weird because it's like I read it on the app this time, because in the original print issue, I don't know if it was an anniversary, because they did that story and then they reprinted the original Werewolf by Night 32 and 33 in the floppy. But on the app, they don't reprint we don't reprint that.
I said no reprints for you.
I mean, it's on the app, so I guess either like, oh, if you want to read Werewolf by Night, you could go, you know, scroll over and read Werewolf by Night, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make much sense to do a reprint in a app that's dedicated to reprints. So, you know.
Or they make the file too big. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you could even theoretically just sort of like do a wiki link to it so that, you know,
Yeah.
you could hit that and get the backups. But, you know.
It was still a little extra long story because I think it was like 36 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that the main story with, you know, that's not counting ads or anything. So, but that was interesting because, yeah, because it was from 2008, but they flashed back. They said the story took place in 1994.
Which
the
one?
90s.
The werewolf?
The werewolf,
Oh.
you know, the current day one from 2008. Yeah, they're like,
Okay,
this takes
so
place
when
in
him and
19.
Marlene go down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, so he's working with the cops.
We got to get to this year's annual somehow.
Oh, yes! Everyone's covering that this weekend. Go over to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
For the most elite coverage of anything related to Moon Knight.
Sounds like a plan, Jan.
All right, so yes. Okay, Lilith Hellfire, do we want to get to our regular weekly comics now?
Yeah, sure.
Lilith's like, I'm not in no rush.
I mean, I know you guys have a whole
Comics
other
Corner.
show to do.
I have a whole other show. All right, so yes. All right, so Charlie Esser, that would be your cue.
Well, so I'm going to go with Criminal Macabre and Count Crowley.
Is this a spinoff?
See, I had never heard of Criminal Macabre before. So this is the first time I'm seeing this character. I don't know if they have a Dark Horse title, if they just created this character as a backdoor pilot in the Count Crowley universe. But effectively... sorry. Yeah, I can't breathe, man. Count Crowley has been sent to the most horrific place imaginable, a comic book convention. Not even like a cool comic book convention, but like this is like, yeah, the annual Social Monster Mania convention on somewhere near the La Brea Tar Pits. So that tells you everything you need to know. She was sent there. For those who don't know, she is the local horror host of a Missouri television station. She was sent out here to expand her market. Meanwhile, we meet this guy, Criminal Macabre, or Macabre. I don't know if we're going to pronounce the R-E or not, who is your classic. Honestly, he gives you that strong Ash from the Evil Dead vibe kind of character, but he does have both his hands and a shotgun. And he drinks a lot. And as we know, Count Crowley is a recovering alcoholic, so that is going to be an ongoing theme in this. Crowley encounters Criminal Macabre as he's fighting a tar monster, whom Count Crowley quickly dispatches because she points out it's not exactly my first slime monster.
Preach.
Yeah. But it turned out cutting a slime monster in half, although it can briefly incapacitate, it does not stop them.
I don't do Twinkies or toaster strudels,
So they have to run out, chase after him. They run into what I have to say is one of the best panels I've ever seen. Here you have the Ghoul, who was a local Detroit horror host legend. Of course, the universally famous Rich Kaz Sanguli, and this guy who I think is supposed to be Zachary. Zachary the Ghoul, who's another very famous local ghoul. At first I thought he could have been Sir Graves Ghastly, but he's got a red cape, and I did not think that Sir Graves Ghastly had a red cape. Of these people, I think some of them may be dead. So yeah, that's actually definitely Zachary. He's actually holding Sanguli's rubber chicken. So that is like that cameo right there makes this comic book for me. So horror fans, please pick it up. And ghoul fans, I know we don't get enough love out there. Ghoul fans, pick it up. Criminal Macabre is constantly trying to get Count Crowley to have sex or to drink with him, where she is trying to get him to have sex with her, because that's another way you can calm your nerves. You don't have to be an alcoholic. You could just have lots and lots of meaningless sex.
Rumpy pumpy.
We then
Why do
find
I
out
feel called out all of a sudden?
Drinking, sex, I don't know.
Rumpy
I
pumpy.
like both, man. Then we find out that Criminal Macabre has a partner who is the cool ghoul. Apparently, the ghouls in L.A. Again, ghouls, not zombies. They even make a point in this, because Crowley's about to kill him with her axe, because she calls him a Billy, meaning a hillbilly zombie. But no, he says he's not a zombie. He's cool. He's a cool ghoul. And the ghouls, they basically are like the Nosferatu here. They from Vampire the Masquerade. They got all the deets on all the metaphysical goings on, and they know the tar monsters basically are ancient necromantic golems created out of humans, tar, and mastodons. And
Bubble boo boo.
only way to kill them is with a mastodon tusk, so they have to go fight them. There's only two left, you see, a male and a female, of course, and they have to kill them both, otherwise, the tar monster is going to take over the world. Although I'm here to say, would it really have been that bad? Maybe it's time, maybe it's the tar monster's time. Maybe it's time we said, you know what? Fair enough, tar monsters. We did not handle it well. Let's see what you can do. But they do wind up killing the two tar monsters who just wanted love, man. They wanted love and world domination. Is that so wrong? They kill him, and Count Crowley basically says, look, man, there's something we can do. Let's go to an AA meeting, because you clearly have a problem, Criminal Macabre. And, just go with this, and I'll make it worth your while. Go with me in, you'll talk, and you'll make it worth your while. And he takes off, because alcohol is more important to him than sex, which, honestly, that's got to be a warning sign. Yeah, I love this.
We're doing me now?
I'm just. By the way, I gotta remember. I gotta get Minor Threats. I have to reach out to my comic book guy and say, please order Minor Threats for me. It's got, it's Patton Oswalt works on it, so it's got to be good. But yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing what Criminal Macabre is doing now. I want to see what his story is and see if that's any good. So there we go. Crossovers. That's how you sell comic books. Lilith, do you have a book you want to tell us about?
I just want to do a quick plug for the best DC book this week, Catwoman Lonely City #4, which goes hand in hand with our interview we just did with Cliff Shane. And I'm just so ecstatic that all the reviews are so positive, because I feel like he was just unsure. And it's just a resounding yes from everybody.
I mean, I know we loved it, and again, I love that it's getting critical acclaim just because so much work.
It's like the best-selling Black Label so far.
It's an oversized book, Charlie. It's one of those bigger ones, and he wrote, penciled,
colored everything, being the editor, basically.
Yeah, he did everything in this book. So,
well, that's always impressive.
4 issues of those big oversized ones. Yeah.
And it's such an essential take on Catwoman too. Like I said, he makes her an actual character, not an accessory. He is kind of like reverent about the shadow that Batman that she's in, but he also manages to make her own strong central figure. And by starting it after everybody else is dead, it's just so brilliant. You still get to be in that world and live with those consequences, but things change, and that atmosphere and everything that's different makes this book really unique.
Well, I do like that too. I thought it was like a possible future, but no. When he told us, he's like,
said it was.
He wrote it. He's like, no,
it's the future.
He's like, no, it's 2022. He's like, but he just wrote it as if all the bad characters had like aged since 1986. So yeah,
1986 when Batman started.
Well, that's when after Crisis they put out Batman Year One. So
I know. I'm just making a joke there. But,
if Batman aged normally, he'd be long day. Well, the lifestyle he leads.
As Batman Beyond Times. But no, I just wanted to shout that book out. I love that all the critics really love it. I haven't seen it's really rare for a DC book not to have so much negativity around it. So it has to, so it's really good. Like I haven't really seen that much negativity around it. Yeah, other than the bros going, man, why did it have to be a Catwoman story? She's gonna get that regardless.
Well,
I want to talk about touche, sir, and Wildcat, but we won't go there. Chilling Adventures Sorcery #1. It's all about Madam Satan breaking out of hell, and they kind of do that take on the Sabrina TV show. Chilling Adventures, obviously not Melissa Joan Hart's Sabrina, where she's the principal, and every classroom is a different circle of hell. So you get all these really cool things like cursed selfies and just ridiculousness, but also still super scary too. So yeah, I really like that they've taken the Chilling Adventures label, because last time that I talked about Chilling Adventures, it was about Salem. So they've kind of taken the focus from Sabrina, and they're kind of expanding the world to all the other characters that kind of got the short end of the stick in the book originally. So I'm really digging that. And it's a follow-up to last year's Chilling Adventure Sorcery story as well. So
awesome.
Love continuity.
Yes. I do love the Chilling Adventures, so that
the Salem one was really good though, like really good. This one's super good too, but like I don't actually really care about Salem in the comic book, so it was really great to see them like make me care about him. So
everybody's got a backstory, even that guy in Hocus Pocus 2.
Too soon, babes. Too soon.
I've never seen any of the Hocus Pocuses. I just know that that's like apparently a thing. So it didn't even date, man.
Billy podcast.
Oh, we're doing me now? Okay.
Yeah, well, it would be your turn.
Well, Will snuck in too, so I didn't know what.
Hey, I did a plug first of all.
I know. All right, I'll keep the us in the mood. All right, Lilith, I hope you read Strange #7.
Of course.
Oh, I love this book, and again, Lilith will agree with me 1,000%. I wish we would keep Clea as the Sorcerer Supreme and not worry about Stephen Strange.
He's had his time.
Can't they just let Wong be Sorcerer Supreme now?
I'm surprised they didn't go that route just because they did it in the MCU.
Well,
but I mean,
a little TNA never hurt to sell a book, though.
Yeah,
no, that's fair.
And again, she's like,
but she's competent too. She's BAMF, and I love it.
And she's like she's the warlord of the Dark Dimension. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just she's
relatable.
Got 2 dimensions she's got to defend. It's got to keep the Dark Dimension under control and keep other dimensions from interfering with the Earth Dimension. I mean, isn't there like a Skrull sorcerer that could like pick up the slack here? Come on, guys. It's your dimension, okay? Yes, I know everyone goes to Earth, but Skrulls and
that's gonna be maybe that's a big story. It's gonna be like, the focal point for all magic in this universe is Earth or something.
Of course it is.
That is where the mother goddess of the universe lives. So,
But yeah, and again,
conveniently,
every issue this has been
the stories,
Yeah, every issue this has been good. It's friend of the show, Jed McKay. So of course I was.
It's so different from all the other stuff too. Like he has such range. That's what really impresses me about him so much.
Yeah.
Like, Iron Cat, this book,
Moon Knight, yeah.
Moon Knight, yeah. Of course, Moon Knight, but.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. All 3 of those completely like different. Yeah. Oh, I just and he
resists the urge to cross over the characters, excessively.
I mean, Moon Knight.
Which I appreciate. Trust me, I appreciate. Cause I know everybody could use a shekel, especially in this economy, but he really does refrain from it, and that is like my biggest like kudos to him.
Yeah, I only feel like works for the story and stuff. Yeah, but I even love like that blasphemy cartel where they're basically just like trying to weaponize magic and stuff.
I mean, yeah, duh.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean.
If you're not afraid of a little personal gain, go for it.
Well, I mean, and not for nothing, like magic for personal gain, that is literally, short-term short-term reward for, I'm going to go to heck? Gee, I'm sure I wasn't going to
I'm sure I can't work a deal with Mephisto.
Well, no, but it's like, if you're already a gangster, did you really think you were going to heaven? It's like, come on, man. The Maggie is like, oh, wow.
It's called a gangster's paradise, Charlie. Of course they thought they were going.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, and
F in the chat for Coolio.
And they've been doing the whole thing about resurrected like heroes and villains as zombies and stuff. Like Thunderstrike zombie showed up at the end of the first one. Charlie, guess who her and the Harvest Man, who they revealed was a resurrected Stephen Strange, but guess which zombie they're fighting in this issue?
Oh, zombie Dr. Octopus?
No, resurrected Bill Foster.
What?
Oh, Bill Foster. Original Giant Man.
Hey-o.
The original?
Okay, the second original.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, technically, second he was Black Goliath.
If it was a size-changing identity, Hank Pym was the original, I'm pretty sure.
Boo.
And actually, I even think that Hank Pym was a Goliath before him, too, so... It's like kind of... Didn't Hank Pym use Goliath?
Yeah, I think he went from Giant Man, and for some reason he changed his name to Goliath, and then like Hawkeye.
For
I think
tax purposes, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And then Hawkeye was like Goliath for 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
Hawkeye loves to steal an identity, I'll tell you that.
Which is weird, because it's like Hawkeye with superpowers. It just doesn't... It
defeats
never makes
the purpose.
Yeah.
But, he probably is jealous,
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't get the respect like Batman does.
You don't think I'm powerful enough?
Hell, he doesn't even get the respect Green Arrow does.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, that's a villain color. But Huntress...
She doesn't get a lot of respect either, Lilith. I mean,
Well, not from
she
Batman.
gets respect. She just doesn't get stories.
Yeah,
She just doesn't get her own book anymore. That's all.
Yeah. Hawkeye's doing okay for himself for, a purple ne'er-do-well.
I think Lilith has dated a couple of those. All right. Any other books? Anybody want to throw in any other books?
I mean, I got another podcast to do, man, so I don't need to. And apparently, everyone's talking Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night. So I won't even go
I mean, you can if you want. I'm pretty sure we all read it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a nice little.
Speaking of Jack Russell,
honestly, I love the daughter character. I love just how she's like, could you guys just stop killing each other for 5 freaking minutes, okay?
Yeah. I'm glad we got her and Marlene back. An update on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the fact that Hunter's Moon was going to kill her, and it was like you literally would do that. You would literally kill a kid. Like I was going to kill her. I was just.
Who is he? Stannis Baratheon? I know.
Yeah. But then what's cool about that is also freaking Conjure's like, I told you to kill her. It's like. I didn't want to kill a kid. I found a way to keep you safe without killing a kid.
I was going to, but I'm not going to do it because you told me to, Dad.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think, and I get Marlene's thing. Because, Diathnia, whatever her name is.
Diatrice.
She'd like to be with her dad, but, Marlene's like, dude, your dad is not a well man. And he knows he's not well, and we know he's not well. And he's not going to be well anytime soon. Because even though he says he'll give it up, that's just one of him saying that, And it's unfortunate.
He doesn't have majority vote, exactly.
Yeah, it's just sad. But, she's also just a kid who really would like to just have a family. Just to have, like everyone thinks, oh, wouldn't it be so great to have, a superhero family. But even Franklin Richards doesn't think it's that awesome half the time,
Well, that's for different reasons that we won't get into. He doesn't like to share the spotlight.
Well, and also he gets sucked to hell every so often, and that's not as fun as it sounds.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Anything you want to throw out, Lil?
No, not at all.
Did anyone read Iron Cat 5? It was the last part.
I mean, of course I did.
Yes.
So tell me about it.
Tied up that whole Tony Stark, Sunset Bane thing.
Tied up is a loose term, but
well, we put an ending on it, kind of. Well, no, like you were saying the other day, Lilith, I'm like, she's kind of outgrown Spider-Man. Like, she works well with, like, Tony Stark and, like, a lot of other characters, like, probably more than Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
Hopefully not Mary Jane, because that's what's coming next. Mary Jane and Black Cat.
A redhead and a blonde walk into a bar.
They should have saw it coming. I believe, did it say when? I thought I saw something for December, so I think, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned it was December the last time I inquired about it.
I think it's like mid-December, yeah, Mary Jane and Black Cat.
Yeah, I think you said the 15th, and I said it was a late birthday present. So.
Yeah. In the midst of dark web.
Peter's exes getting together. I don't know. I just think that's never gonna be well.
What's next? The Catwoman Talia book?
We came close. Hey-o.
Hey-o. I could see DC trying to steal that magic.
I don't think those two would get along very well.
No.
And I honestly think...
Cat fight, Jerry.
Yeah. No, I just...
Literally.
Because, first off, Talia, I don't even think really likes Bruce that much.
She doesn't.
That was actually...
It was a means to an end.
Gold digger.
Yeah, that was arguably,
Actually, Ra's al Ghul has more money than Batman, but, that's not my...
Well, I mean...
I should hope if you're like hundreds or thousands of years old, I hope you have more
She's
money.
not a gold digger. No. We're not going to do that to Talia.
But it was non-consensual is what I was saying.
They walked that back too, but, I still...
Again, that story wasn't supposed to be in continuity, and then all of a sudden it's in continuity, and it's like, why would Batman have a kid? Oh, she drugged him, or... roofied him. Okay.
Well, he is a rich philanthropist.
Yeah,
his favorite bank is the sperm bank, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, hey, he's got some DNA to pass, and honestly, the idea that Bruce
why do you think he's always so angry?
That Bruce Wayne contributes to a local sperm bank, I think that's a real possibility.
Where do you think Amanda Waller got it from? I'm just saying.
No, he's like Kramer. He's going to keep it all in the Batcave. You know that
Who is he, Kramer?
I was going to say, that maniac's not trusting a sperm bank. He's got his secret facility down there. Come on. Alfred, put this away. Oh, very good, sir.
That doesn't serve any purpose. You don't.
He can dole it out as needed, Tail.
To whom?
I don't know.
Who's asking?
I don't know. Oh, please. You don't think anyone's after rich 1%ers DNA, Charlie? Didn't
we have a whole Batman the animated cartoon about this?
Well, people can make requests, and when he finds a worthy candidate, he's like, oh, there you go.
Honestly,
here's a turkey baster for you.
High demand on Themyscira, so.
Oh, God.
He's the best of them,
Bunch of little Damien and Damienettes running around. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, And, I'm sure they got the technology. You can just separate out the Y's, so,
Hey-o. On that note, on Bruce Wayne's DNA, let's get out of here. All right, kids, scheduling note. All right. Next week, there will be no Capes and Lunatics. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. But next week, never fear, you're going to get the return of Super Connectivity, this time with Charlie.
With a twist!
This time with the Esser boys, Charlie and Tristan.
We're going to try, yes.
That's the spirit. All right, so.
It's hurting a cat, but yes.
Yeah, poor Tristan.
Poor Tristan.
Hopefully he gets you there. Hey, man, reach out to your other kids, Maz, any of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, Maz and I are recording on Sunday, so I might try to talk him into extending it, and we can get Tristan in the mix. So
there you go.
Yeah, that all works out. So we got plans. We're going to see how it goes.
I look forward to an extended cut of some fan theories for sure.
Yes.
All right, so that's like I said, Super Connectivity returns next week, and then, yes, in 2 weeks, we'll be back for Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. Hopefully everyone heard Rihanna's new song. All right. Oh, my God. One of the radio stations around here was playing that every hour this afternoon.
Well, that's how radio stations work now, babes.
I know.
I mean, I have Sirius XM.
So do I.
It's like, I don't...
I usually don't, but we were in Danielle's car, and I was like, oh, God. Every hour.
Oh, should I get her that for Christmas?
No, she has it, but for some reason we had the regular station on. We were going to Lucas School for the Halloween party. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, turn on the Sirius. Come on. It's not a bad song. It's just every hour on the hour.
Yeah, that's modern radio. It's been like that forever.
I know.
That's why I stopped listening.
Yeah, me too. All right, kid. Commercials. Blech. All right, kids. So, yeah, send us your thoughts. Halloween issues, Black Panther. What do you want to hear Charlie Esser talk about? He'll do it. He's easy. Email.
He's a showman. Correction, he's a showman.
Showmanship. All right, so yes, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Capes and Lunatics on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Find links to all the various social medias for all the shows we do. The YouTube channel, again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think we're at either 249 or 250, but yes, please subscribe.
Oh, 269.
Almost. Come on, kids.
We'll do a special episode.
All right, so yes, kids, subscribe to the YouTube. Everything we do gets a video, no matter what it is. So smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of any of our content.
Smash it.
Smash it.
And, of course, most importantly, the Patreon. Again, we're doing this ourselves. Every little bit helps. With $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And not to mention, we need some fresh blood so that we're not stuck with 3 sadistic a-holes.
Wow!
Do for 2023. So become a part of the Patreon elite and save us.
The views of Little
I,
Health.
for one, welcome our sadistic douchebag overlords. So.
The views of Little Hellfire do not necessarily reflect the views of the Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast. Proud members of the collective.
You don't need that as a drop.
Yes. Oh, I know. That button's going to get broken. All right. So, yes. Not only will you get, the interviews, you'll get superhero movie brackets. We're almost done. We will find
We're almost ready to crown a wiener.
That's right. And Lilith Hellfire said if you're a patron, you can vote on what we talk about next year in 2023. So please subscribe to the... And, of course, you can always pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. And, of course, Lilith's favorite, there's just a Cash App link in all the show notes, so you can just rain random money on us. So
make it rain.
Make it rain. Free money.
So find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
So says Master Do.
Lilith Hellfire.
If you nerds want to hang with me on the interwebs, find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. On Instagram... Nope, not Instagram anymore. On TikTok at Lilith Hellfire 69, making all the comments and maybe some content. Maybe come check it out. Give me a follow.
Put it here. Either do the 6 or do the 9.
Lubricated eels are the best.
You're welcome, Justin.
I wonder if my wrist is ready for that.
Somebody's muffins getting buttered. That ain't my business.
Charlie Esser.
Well, you can always write to me that old-fashioned email way, where our mothers and fathers once did it. superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And follow me on, I guess, Twitter. I guess we'll go back there, see how that hellscape looks now, under the kind auspices of Elon Musk. But if I am there, you will find me at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz.
Sounds like a plan. Have a good night.
All right.
Crazy son of a bitch actually did it. He went and bought Twitter.
They made him. He didn't want to. They made him.
He did it for the memes.
Yeah, it was a drunken boast one morning, and he woke up and says, "Wait, I said I do what? I didn't sign any paperwork. I signed paperwork."
Hey, when he rolled over after a drunken night, there's a contract for Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you roll when you're billionaires, man.
He
You're
did it for the memes.
Twitter, no, I want this binding. I'll give him $1 billion if I back out.
Yeah, I put my signature right there. Next morning, what did I do? All right, kids. For another week, we have been your Capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics.
Again, Super Connectivity returns next week, and then in 2 weeks, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But until then, go eat some damn candy. Good night.
Gobble, gobble.